my name's Claire and this is Stitch Hem Sew. Thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Friday Sews. If you're a regular watcher or subscriber, thank you so much for coming back time and time again. And if you are new here today, I really hope you enjoy what you see and you'll consider subscribing. So today's video, as I said, is a Friday Sews video. Friday Sews was created by the lovely Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, and I will link Jen in the description notes below. And if you just type the hashtag Friday Sews into the search bar in YouTube, you will find a whole host of us all posting under that hashtag Friday Sews. The idea with Friday Sews is that we share a little bit about what we've been sewing and think perhaps we've been buying, maybe what we've got planned for the week, a little bit of life thrown in. So if that interests you, please stick around with me today. So I have made 3 items since I last spoke to you on Friday Sews, which was a couple of weeks ago. The first item that I made was a hat for my son, and that was using the Sandcastle bucket hat from Waves and Wild. This is a free pattern. I've made this pattern a few times, and I decided that my son needed another hat because he's wearing his all the time. I mean, I can't believe it, he's actually wearing a hat and wanting to wear a hat. So whilst that's happening, I thought I should make him another one because his other one is being constantly used. And so I found some fat quarters in my stash and I've made him a hat. The beauty of the bucket hat by Waves and Wild is that it is reversible, so he can wear it whichever way he likes. So on this side I've got just some clouds and stars, and on this side we've got some rainbows and some suns and some moons and some stars. It's really cute. I made the size 2 to 4 and that fits him great. I made the same size last year for him and it was probably a smidge too big, but he still wore it, but it fits on much nicer this year. And I think this one turned out really nice. I used 2 fat quarters to make it easily, this size easily fits onto fat quarters, and there's extra to spare as well. You can make the adult size, I would say, out of 2 fat quarters, but you might have to do a little bit more pattern Tetris, or perhaps cut the pattern along the brim piece and then allow for a little bit of seam allowance. I've certainly done that in the past before to fit them out of a couple of fat quarters. So this one is a really lovely pattern. It sews up really easily. Waves and Wild's instructions are always really clear and really good. As you know, if you've watched my channel before, you'll know I'm a massive fan of Waves and Wild patterns, and a free pattern even better. And the next item that I thought I'd show you today is one that I discussed in my last Friday Sews that I was planning to make, and that is the sabeto top by Seam Work. Again, it's a free pattern, and I wanted to sew up the sort of standard length version with the sort of small short sleeves version. Now, so there's sort of 3 versions that you can do. You can do sleeveless, you can do one with a short sleeves, or you can do more of a kind of tunic length that's kind of got a split hem on. So I'd gone for sort of the standard length, and I'd cut out the sleeve for it as well. So all was going really well with the pattern until I got to the point of popping in the sleeves, and I found that the sleeve head sort of started here, which in itself looked weird, but also the sleeve was really tight. Also the armhole size, is that what you call it, was really quite tight as well. I haven't really ever experienced that problem before. I guess the fit just wasn't quite right, perhaps the block wasn't right. I don't know whether maybe I hadn't chosen the right size, but it was definitely right for sort of round the bust. So I think this bit was too wide, but then the sleeve that was supposed to go on for that size was too small. So I could have redrafted a sleeve, but I just decided that I would make it sleeveless. So what I did is, because the arm side was a little bit too small, I felt like it would end up being uncomfortable, is I took about 1 centimetre off all around the sleeve bit, and I knew that obviously I'd be doing bias binding to complete that the finish on the sleeve armhole, and therefore it would take it in a little bit more after that. So I thought I was fairly confident that that would work out okay. So this is my version that I've made, and it's come together quite nicely. I really like this feature on the front that has got this kind of seam detail, as you'll see in the stock photo, that that's part of the design, which I really like. I like that finish. I've obviously used the bias binding on the armholes and on around the neckline. The neckline I think is a really nice height on me. I quite like that, but I'm not a fan, if I'm honest with you, of no sleeves. So I would probably wear this around the house, or I would wear it if I knew that I'd be always wearing kind of a cardigan on top. But I'm not a massive fan of my of the tops of my arms, so I generally don't wear sort of no sleeves at all. But I'll pop a picture in of me wearing it so that you can see. I don't think it's one that I'm going to rush to make again, because I just can't really be bothered to faff around with the sleeve head on it, if I'm quite honest with you, or the sleeve, making the sleeve bigger. I just don't think that it's a pattern that I love enough to really kind of faff around making those adjustments. But it certainly could. I mean, the general gist of the pattern is quite nice, and the instructions were really clear. I'm not faulting those at all, but it's definitely not the top for me. So not a sewing fail as such, but definitely not one that I'm raving about. The third pattern that I made was from Ellie & Mac. Again, it's a free pattern. Oh, all three of my items today are free patterns. I do love a free pattern. This item, I was watching the lovely Ruan from the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and she completely inspired me to make this pattern, so it's all her fault. And it is the Ellie & Mac beach tote. That's not quite what it's called. I think it's called Tote to Go. I'll pop it up on the screen. And she'd made a gorgeous version for her holiday, and I just thought, with the summer holidays coming up with the kids, actually having a beach bag that I can chuck everything in would be really useful. So I have made this version. This fabric I got in a bundle from Felicity Fabrics a little while ago, and it's just a cotton poplin fabric. The pattern itself allows you to actually make straps on it, but I've just used some webbing fabric, and the actual webbing fabric that I bought was a little bit thin, but I bought plenty of it. So what I've done is I've actually used sort of 2 lengths of it per strap, just to kind of make those straps a little bit more robust, and hopefully help to kind of, when you've got that on your shoulder with quite a lot of weight in, to sort of stop them from digging in on my shoulder. So what I've done is I've got this lovely red spotty fabric. I've got a zip pocket at the front here, which I really like, you know, for your valuables and things, or whatever you want to put in there. Overall, that's gone quite well. I've got a tiny bit of puckering just around the edges of the zip there, but I don't think that anybody is really going to be looking that closely enough to be worried about it. You can do like a little tie closure at the top, but or you can pop like a magnetic closure on, and I've chosen to do the magnetic closure because I had some of those already, and so that was just a nice easy finish. Inside I've got an inside pocket, and I've just put 1 row of stitching in, which will hold my phone quite nicely. And because the pocket's quite deep, what I've done is I've actually put another row of stitching just along sort of at this height, so that my phone just sticks just slightly proud at the top of the pocket, and doesn't disappear into the bottom, and then you're trying to scrabble around to try and get it. And then I've got this sort of quite large extra pocket just there, which I think is quite nice. Obviously you could put as many pockets in this bag as you like. It's massive, so I could have easily put another zip pocket inside. If I was to make this bag again, I think I would probably do that. I would possibly pop in like a key clip thingy on it, so that if you've got you've put your keys in there, you can just pull it out on the end of a you know, a cord or something. I think that would be quite a nice touch for next time as well. But overall, for the first time of making it, I'm quite pleased with the result. I would probably perhaps make it in a slightly more substantial cotton, more of a canvas fabric for next time, but I have used quite a substantial lining fabric, which has helped to kind of bulk it up a bit. This is actually curtain lining, and my local fabric shop does lots of curtains as well, and they sell remnant pieces of curtain lining, which I often buy for bag lining, because actually I quite like a white or lightish lining in a bag, because then you're not looking into sort of a dark pit of a bag, particularly when it's a big bag like this. Obviously there is that issue of it getting a little bit dirty, but this bag could easily be thrown in the wash and hopefully come up sparkling clean. So really happy with that make. I think it's really cute, and I think it will be really useful for days out at the beach, or just sort of days out generally with the kids. And yeah, as I say, another free pattern, so that's fantastic. So next up, I thought I'd share a few things that I've been buying over the last few weeks and share those with you today. The first item that I bought isn't actually sewing related, but is a crafty type item, and I thought that you guys might like to see it as well. One of my friends, close friends that I've known for a very long time, has got an Etsy business making jewellery out of crystals, and I decided that I would support both my lovely friend and of course a small business and buy one of her lovely bracelets. Now she uses really lovely top quality crystals to make her bracelets, and one of the ones that she makes is for relief with menopause. Now I am at that point in my life where I think I'm very much in the perimenopausal stage, and mood swings are in and around, shall we say. So I thought it was definitely worth investing in one of these bracelets and seeing if I could see any benefits, etc. Plus they just look gorgeous anyway. So it arrived in a very cute little box. I'm not going to show the other side, it's got my address on, but really like letterbox friendly size box. Lovely kind of sort of all eco-friendly tape and everything, and it came wrapped in gorgeous tissue paper, and then on these like gorgeous little cards that tell you what the crystals are and what it's supposed to do, and obviously the details of the shop, etc. So the one that I bought was for menopausal relief, and it's supposed to bring harmony, emotional balance, calming, self-love, grounding and self-confidence. And this is the bracelet that I bought. Now my lovely friend Katie also popped in another bracelet, so I've been wearing them together because I think they look really lovely. And the one that she popped in as an additional extra was this one, and it is for love, relationships and balance, and she thought that it would work quite well together, and I think she's absolutely right. So I just thought I'd give her a little shout out because I love them so much, and I do love to support small businesses. She actually has another Etsy business as well, and that is sewing related. It is so sorry, I should go back to the jewellery. The jewellery, her shop is called 2 Moons Jewellery, and I'll link everything in the description below. The other shop that she also runs on Etsy is called Mubu Creation Shop, and she creates beautiful garlands made from felt. All of it is completely and utterly hand sewn. They're absolutely beautiful. You can get in contact with Katie and she will create completely bespoke items for you. They're all you can pick the colours that you want, obviously the letters and the sizing of letters that you want. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm going to link all the details in the description box below. She's made some for both of my boys when they were born, and they're up in their bedrooms. Katie hasn't asked me to give a shout out, I just wanted to. Okay, so on to some fabric that I have been buying, folks. Now the first couple of pieces that I've bought, actually I had bought at the beginning of June, but they didn't arrive until the end of June, if not the beginning of July. So unfortunately I had bought this piece of fabric to take part in the challenge being run by Yvette from Blossom Sandwich, which was the Sew Fruity 22 challenge. I did enter the challenge but had to use some different fabric, and I just made some accessories, a sunglasses case and a sort of key fob chain. But this is the fabric that I had bought in mind for Sew Fruity, and it is a French terry fabric. It's got a nice little fleecy back on, and oh my goodness, I mean, look at it. It's so, I think it's this way round that you need to see it. How fun is this fabric? No, I had it up the right way the first time, sorry. How fun is that fabric? Quite loud, quite in your face for me, but I just thought it was really fun, and I had in my mind that I would make another hug hoodie because I absolutely love that pattern. I've made one so far and I really love that version, but unfortunately this fabric didn't arrive in time, so I'll either leave this to sew up for perhaps later on in the year, or I might even save it until next year for Sew Fruity. Hopefully Yvette will be running that again. And then I bought some ribbing fabric because I thought it was a match, but stupidly I hadn't read the description properly, and on the picture on the website this was coming up a lot brighter, much more of a pink, and obviously it's much more of a kind of a Bordeaux, a claret type colour, but I thought it was more of a kind of a pink colour like this, so it doesn't really go at all, so I would have to get some other fabric for it. But I'm thinking that I might try and pick out this colour, or perhaps this sort of darker blue colour. I think that would be quite nice, and perhaps slightly less in your face for my liking, but I think this will be sew up really nice when I do eventually get round to sewing it up. Now the next couple of fabrics I bought from First for Fabrics. I haven't bought from them for a while, but I love First for Fabrics. I think their selection is great, their price points are always really reasonable, and I always find their service is really great as well. If you've ever got any questions, or you think that they perhaps have got something, because I believe it's quite a large store. I haven't actually ever been there because they're up north and I'm in the south, but I believe it's quite a large store and not necessarily everything is on the website. So if you're making an order and you think that they perhaps might stock something, maybe haberdashery wise, it's always worth pinging them a message to see whether they can fulfill that part of your order and just kind of add it to your order as via an invoice or something. So I decided to that I wanted to buy some chambray fabric because I'm looking to make, hopefully this month if I can fit it in, the Megan Nielsen Brumby skirt, and I thought at this time of year actually having sort of a denim look but in a chambray so it was a bit lighter would be quite nice. So that I'll pop a picture in of the Brumby, and I thought a nice chambray would be ideal for that. So this is kind of a mid-tone, which I thought was quite nice, not too light but not really dark, and I'm hoping, as I say, to sew that up this month. Certainly in my July plans, but they were quite ambitious. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description below, and hopefully, yeah, I'll use this fabric to sew that pattern up. And whilst obviously I was making that order, I thought it was worth just adding another sneaky little bit of fabric to my order, and I was really enticed by this particular fabric. Actually, I made use of an offer they had on, which was the sort of the end of the sewing bee, and they were offering kind of 15% off their fabrics, I believe, so that was another reason for taking advantage of their wonderful shop. So I picked up also 1.5 meters of this gorgeous viscose, quite bright blue, cobalty blue maybe background to it, with some sort of lighter blue and darker blue and yellow flowers on. I thought that was really sweet. This has got a really nice feel to it, and I don't think it's going to be too sort of creasy. You know, some viscoses are really kind of super creasy. It doesn't feel like it's going to be one of those ones that just creases as soon as you look at it. So I'm thinking the sagebrush top for this one. I've sewn this up twice now, and I definitely would like to have a go at sewing that one again. And 1.5 meters I think will give me more than enough fabric to make that pattern, and I think that would look really nice with all sorts of things. I think the sagebrush looks nice, sort of, it's quite casually, but you can also wear it kind of a little bit more smart as well. I think it's quite a diverse top from that point of view. Now the last piece of fabric that I bought was from Rainbow Fabrics, from one of their recent drops. I was very restrained. I only bought the one piece of fabric from them because, let's face it, we can all go a little bit crazy on Fabrics website because they have some beautiful dead stock fabrics. They specialize in dead stock fabrics, and yes, we can all go a little bit crazy, but I bought just the one fabric because this one had really caught my eye. Now I've seen this actually on a few different websites, and I think even First for Fabrics had it, but I missed out on it then. And it is this gorgeous viscose fabric that has got flowers, and it's also got some strawberries on, and I just think that this is a gorgeous fabric for the summer, but also because it's got a black base, I think it can carry on into the winter months as well without looking sort of too over the top summery, because of it's got that lovely black base to it. I quite like a darker based viscose, but obviously there's beautiful pops of colour, and with a viscose of course it's got beautiful drape as well. Now I haven't quite decided what I'm going to make with this one. I've got a few plans whirling around in my mind, but I haven't quite got them formulated as yet. So hopefully next month this one will get sewn up as well. So those are all the things that I have been buying, I think, other than the webbing fabric that the webbing strap that I used on the bag that I made. The other thing that I've bought is when I made my order to First for Fabrics, I bought some Mariflex thread because I'm just trying to add like one of those sort of threads to an order when I order with a online supplier that stock Mariflex thread, just to stock up on a few sort of the main kind of colours: black, white, red, blue, green, that sort of thing, that I think that I might be able to use. So on to what I'm planning to make this week. I have a wedding to go to in about a week or so's time, so I really need to get cracking on making the dress that I'm planning to wear. So the dress that I'm planning to make is the Sew Over It Eve dress. I'll pop a stock photo in of the Eve. It's a gorgeous wrap dress with quite a full kind of, if it's not a circle skirt, then it's at least a half circle skirt on it. So good amount of swish factor, and I think that would look really lovely as a dress to wear to a wedding as a guest. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it all comes together nicely and that I've got something to wear to the wedding. Because I don't think that I've got anything in my wardrobe right now that is something that I want to wear. I mean, I've got dresses that I've made, but I don't feel that any of them are kind of just got that edge enough to be a wedding guest dress, rather than just a dress that I wear to work or a dress that I would wear at the weekend or whatever. So the fabric that I'm planning to use is this fabric here. Again, it's a viscose fabric. I picked this up from a D-Stash from the lovely Crystal from my social thread, who has got a D-Stash account as well. Again, I'll link it all in the description box below because I know she's still got some fabrics on there that she's selling. And I've got 4 meters of this. So I'm fairly confident that I've got more than enough fabric to make this dress. I just need to get on and do it. So if any of you have made the Sew Over It Eve dress and you've got any hints and tips for me, please do let me know in the comments box below. I would really appreciate that. I don't know why I feel a little bit anxious about making this dress. Maybe it's because I've got an actual idea of what I'm making it for, to wear to a wedding, and I've also got quite a limited window, if you like, to make it in. So maybe I've just put a little bit too much pressure on myself by leaving it a little bit too late, and hopefully it will all come together quite nicely. I have cut out the pattern. I've pieced together all the PDF, which took a while because there's quite a lot of pieces. I should have sent that one off to the copy shop, but I didn't. So I've pieced it all together. I've cut it all out. I just need to look to see whether I need to make any adjustments to the bodice, possibly add an extra inch to the bodice, which is kind of my standard adjustment that I often make on patterns. Look at the placement of the bust dot, etc., to see whether I need to add anything to that or make any sort of a full bust adjustment or anything like that. So that's next on my list of things to do this evening, I think. So all in all, that's the only thing that I've got planned for the week ahead. If I manage to get other things done, then fabulous, but this is the only thing that in my mind is paramount to get sewn up. So I think that's everything from me today. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, please do give me a like, drop me any comments that you want to in the comments box below. I do love talking to you in the comments, and I do try to come back to everybody as quickly as possible. As I say, if you have liked today's video, do give me a like. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you could consider doing so. But until next time, take care. Happy sewing. Bye bye.